Yo, my name's Aaron and this is an acoustic guitar lesson for the song Easy by Lionel Richie. You're going to need your capo and you're going to have to put it on the 1st fret. So without further ado, let's learn those chords. Let's get zoomed in. As usual, as a handy reference to you, here are all the chords that are used in this song. Before we get into the shapes, just remember there's a capo right here on the 1st fret. So everything's relative to the capo. This is fret 1, this is fret 2, this is fret 3, etc, etc. So the first chord you need to know is a G major chord. First finger on fret 2 of the A string, 2nd finger on fret 3 of the low E, 3rd finger on fret 3 of the B, pinky on fret 3 of the high E. And if you're struggling to do this version of a G major, you can do a G6 chord just by taking these 2 fingers away. And that'll give you a G6 chord. You can even do it with 1 finger if you like, just so long as you're muting the A string with the underside of this finger. The next chord you need to know is a B minor 7 chord. First finger comes to fret 2 of the A, the 2nd finger comes to fret 2 of the G, and the 3rd finger comes to fret 3 of the B, and then you're going to strum the inside 4 strings. And actually, if you do end up strumming the high E, you can do that and it's not going to sound terrible. I'll give you a B minor 11 chord there. If you can't play this B minor 11 chord and you can play a D, then you can use a D in its place in this song. The next chord you need to know is an A minor 7. First finger comes to the 1st fret of the B string, 2nd finger comes to the 2nd fret of the D string, and then you strum 5 strings, do not strum the low E string. It's your A minor 7 chord. And then a D11 chord is exactly the same as an A minor 7, except you take off the 2nd finger. And that gives you a D11 chord. Probably the easiest chord in this song, I would say. And those chords will cover you for most of the song, but there are certain sections with additional chords, such as the chorus tag at 1 minute 8 seconds. And the chords used there are F, first of all. So F, 1st finger on the 1st of the B, 2nd finger on the 2nd of the G, 3rd finger on the 3rd of the D string. And then you just play 3 strings that you're fretting, and that gives you an F chord. Then we play C with an E in the bass. So the 1st finger on fret 1 of the B string and the 2nd finger on fret 2 of the D string, and then you strum the lightest 4 strings. Don't strum the low E or the A string for that particular chord. And then when we get to the bridge at 2 minutes 18, we've got an F chord, but this time it's an F major 7. So instead of strumming the 3 strings that you're fretting, you strum those and include the high E string as well. And that's going to give you an F major 7 chord. And in the bridge there is also a D minor 7 chord as well, so that's where you're going to bar these 2 strings, the B and the high E at the 1st fret, and then the 2nd finger comes to the 2nd of the G string, and you strum the thinnest 4 strings. And then there's a break at 2 minutes 39. I know there's a lot of chords here, but most of the song does use the same 4 chords, so don't be intimidated by that. We play a 3-note version of a B flat chord here, where we're just going to bar across the 3rd fret of the D, G and B strings with that index finger. And then the final chord that we need to learn is a C. Standard C major chord shape, and in its place you could do a C add 9. That's it for the chords. Let's get on to the strumming and the structure. If you haven't downloaded my free beginner guitar survival kit yet, you can do so from a link in the description. This song is a little bit more on the tricky end for beginners, but it's not impossible if you put the time in. The first thing we need to understand about this song is that we're going to be counting this a little bit differently to how we count other songs. So normally we'd be counting 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, okay? But in this song, we're going to be dividing everything up into 4 pieces. Every beat is going to have 4 pieces instead of 2. 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and. And it's underneath each of those that we're going to be able to locate our down strums and our up strums for the strumming pattern. Although the strumming pattern itself isn't particularly difficult, it's just understanding where the timing is and where it fits. So I'll just exemplify it to you quickly at the original tempo. So it'll be 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and, okay? And I'm going to slow it right down so you can really hear what's going on. 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a... So you'll notice that the first down strum on the G chord is on beat 1. And then you've got a down up on 2E. And then on the next chord, the A minor 7 chord, you've got a downstroke on beat 3. And then on beat 4, on the D11 chord, you've got a down up on the 4E. So once you understand that your strums can fit in all of those places, you should be good to go. And this is the dominant strumming pattern throughout this song. So now that we know that, we can look at the intro, which comes in at 0 seconds in the song, the very start. And we have one full round of the chords, G, B minor 7, A minor 7, D11. And then on the second round, when we get to the A minor 7, we just hold on to that A minor 7 for a full 4 beats. So the full intro at 50 beats per minute will sound like this. 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a... So you notice that A minor 7 chord there held on for the full 4 beats, no more strumming. Then we get to the first verse, which is at 14 seconds. And the first verse is exactly the same part as the first half of the intro. G, B minor 7, A minor 7 and D11. Then we play G, B minor 7 and A minor 7 again, as we did before, but at 26 seconds we get this happening. So there's some things you want to understand about the timing there. So first of all, we know that the first 3 chords leading up to that are just the same as they have been. But the chord played is at 26 seconds, is a D11. We've already done this chord, but it's the timing, and it's a 3E and a 4 and. So altogether at speed, it would sound like this. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 and. Okay, so let's slow that right down so you can really get the gist of it, and I'll repeat it a few times. Here we go. 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 and 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 and 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 and 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 and. So the tricky thing about that is that obviously, yeah, the D11, 3E and a 4, but when you get to the and of 4, you're coming back to the G chord, but then you have to skip over the first strum of the G chord as well. So I would imagine you might want to rewind and just listen back a few times to really get the hang of what's going on there. But once we've done that, we do our G, B minor 7, A minor 7 and D11 chords just the same once more. Then we do our G and B minor 7 chords the same again, but this time when we get to the A minor 7, we do 4 beats. 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a, and the D11 for 4 beats. 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a, but we're only doing a single strum on each chord. See what I noticed there? And that there is your pre-chorus. And the next thing at 46 seconds is the chorus. And we go through that standard chord progression, G, B minor 7, A minor 7, D11, once again, 3 times in a row, just as we did in the first part of the intro and the first part of the verse. Before getting to the chorus tag at 1 minute and 8 seconds, your chorus tag is morning. So your chorus tag, they're single strums, but we've just got to know where to put them. So 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1. Okay, let's do that at 50 beats per minute and repeat it a few times. 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a, one more time, 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2. Okay, so the 4 chords used there, we've got our F chord, our E over C, our D11, and then our G chord, in that order. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a... Okay? And that takes us nicely onto verse 2. After that bass fill, you know, there's a little... Can't remember exactly how it goes, but... Verse 2 comes in at 1 minute 16, which is the same as verse 1. Woohoo! Pre-chorus 2 comes in at 1 minute 41. The pre-chorus, beg stolen I've borrowed, where we hang on to the A minor 7, the D minor, the D11. Then we get to chorus 2 at 1 minute 48, which is identical to chorus 1. Chorus tag number 2, the bit we just learned, morning, at 2:10. It's exactly the same as chorus tag 1. Then we get to our bridge at 2 minutes 18. And that's the bit that goes, I wanna be high, so high, wanna be free to know. Okay, so again, we need to know what these chords are, where they come in. The first chord is F major 7, then we go to C over E, and then D minor 7, okay? And the timing is as follows. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2. So it's on beat 1, and then it's on the E of 4 E and a, and then back to beat 1 again. And then after the D minor 7, we go back to the C over E chord again. So 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a, and it's on the E of 4 once again. Okay, lots of tricky little beats in this song to get our head round. All right, don't worry if you can't do all these tricky parts. Just enjoy playing through the song the best you can with the chord bits that you can do. And the more you hear it, the more you listen to it, the more you'll get used to those awkward placings of beats. Then at 2:39 we get to the break, and that's where we go B flat, F, D minor 7, C. So the B flat is on beat 1, 1 E and a 2 E and. The F is on the and of 2, 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and then the same again with the D minor 7 and the C. D minor 7 on beat 1, 1 E and a 2 E and the C comes back in on beat 2, 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and. Then we get to the guitar solo, that famous guitar solo at 2 minutes 48. and the chords underneath that are the same as the verse. Then the chorus repeats another couple of times after that before we get to the key change at 3 minutes 42. Decided to leave the key change out of this tutorial just because it's going to add a little bit too much complexity in terms of the chord shapes, and we've already got a lot to work on with the timing. So good luck with this song. If you did get any value out of this video, then please check out the video that's on your screen now.